Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you.
Thank you so much. That's a great setup, really, for where we want to go this morning, or where I would like for us to kind of do a quick review. This is, who we are together is an opportunity for us to take a look at where we have been already. You know, this is the time of year that the news media starts running those rolls of everything that's happened this year, as if we could possibly have forgotten any of it. Because, in fact, we're still living in a lot of it. But anyway, there is just that kind of that review. And it's amazing how much life we've done in 1 year. So I've prepared one for us. It's not going to be up there. It's just going to be in words. So what I'm basically going to do is just run through some of the things. This is I would say, the heavy part of what 2020 has been. And I know in a lot of ways we've been doing homages to that everywhere, and we're whining about it everywhere. I see Facebook too, I know. But at the same time, sort of getting it as a big arm load gives us a perspective, but I promise I won't leave you with a big arm load. How about that? Oh, I know what I wanted to do. I wanted to recognize our participants. I didn't get to introduce them beforehand, so I'd love for you to know who was helping us put this beautiful arrangement together. First, Sandy Fitz and Sandy Newkirk, who couldn't be physically with us here, helped make sure that so much of our beautiful altar was put together, but Ken Gale also was the master of putting all this arrangement. So it's so beautiful, and we're so grateful for that. Carla Cargill, yes, thank you. Carla Cargill also gave me that beautiful sash thing, this kente cloth that I could wear, and that was really a beautiful gift to me for this particular occasion. And in addition to Ken, we also had Jamaica Gray, Elise Coffey, Stephen Fleming, Selwyn Colors, Tony Glover, and Siobhan Jacobs. So thank you so much for being a part of this and walking with me through this. Wasn't that just beautiful? We love doing this. So where have we been, though? We started off, and we've pretty much continued. We started off in polarization. We've started off in lamenting how far apart we are from friends and family. Some of it's social distances and social differences, but political ones as well. We've been pulled apart by all of those things for a few years, actually. And then the pandemic came. And social justice issues arose front and center in our national consciousness. With a full video account of George Floyd's death, that sparked a touchstone and a turning point where we could no longer, as a people, as a country, not see. Sparking protests and marches for weeks. And in all of that, the health outcome disparities based on race have been underscored in the time of the pandemic as well. These issues are up, and up for a reason. Where are we now? Why, all year long, we've been educating and working from home, haven't we? Almost a year of lost milestones in our lives. Weddings, births, graduations, proms, anniversaries, holiday traditions, birthdays, and sports, don't get started on sports, have been postponed or been put on virtual methods to stay connected. Occasions that are lost and can't be recreated have just passed us by. Hospitalizations for loved ones we couldn't visit. Nursing home elders isolated from families. Businesses shrinking work hours or closing altogether. Retail and travel struggling to stay afloat. Live arts, music and entertainment, professionals, artists, musicians, venues, all suspended indefinitely. And mounted on top of that, fear, depression, illness, death, loss, much of it faced alone. Stress and worry go along with all of it. And included in all of these events, or these things that happened, is the experience that we are walking through. It's getting harder and harder to isolate, isn't it? It is for me. It's important. I don't forget its importance. But it is harder because there's varying degrees of difficulty to stay away from one another this long, even to guard our own health and that of others. Not only does isolation go against our habits, it goes against our very natures. We're communal people. We draw strength from one another. We draw understanding and protection. We learn from one another. And I don't think I have ever understood the power and the importance of what human touch really means. I don't think we'll forget this lesson for quite some time. And that's where we stand on December 27th, 2020. Looking and straining into 5 more days of 2020 until we finally can call it 2021, even if that's just a calendar page change, for those of you who still use paper calendars, or whether it really means something new is afoot. That's a lot. I'm going to invite you just to breathe with me a moment. A breathe in and a breathe out. It has been a lot. But not without gains. So what have we gained? I'm going to mirror some of the values that we just reviewed and we meditated upon in the Kwanzaa ceremony, because they apply to us as a community, finding our bearings in a brand new year together. The first one is self-determination, kujichagulia. Self-determination as individuals, we have had to get aware of some of the gifts that we offer and some of the things that we can do differently in order to get by, in order to do things that we used to do without thinking. We have to think about everything, it seems. Self-determination, creativity, thinking outside of the box, virtual events and connections, drive-bys for parties and for anniversaries and for recognizing people. More and more things being done outside for as long as we could, as long as we can, has brought up a resilience in us, and we have probably found a resilience. Nature walks, hikes, biking, gardening, baking, meditating, yoga, whatever hobbies that you've either resurrected or jumped into for the very first time, something new has been birthed in you. Something new is happening, a resilience, tools, gifts that you'll bring to the world. Balance. I don't know if everybody has all taken advantage as much as we could, maybe, of bringing more balance into our lives. A little more sleep and rest. I know that hasn't been true for everyone. But I think in many cases, the changing up in the routines has made us recreate some of the things and elements that might have been missing in what we were charging forward, doing all the time at breakneck paces. Family cohort bonding, reading, self-care. There's been more of that, lots of reports of it, lots of ways in which maybe we didn't want to necessarily have to spend more time with our family, or being in close quarters, or staying home so much. In my household, it's come down to we either are at home together, we go for walks in nature, or we get in the car and we drive somewhere. And whether or not there's a destination, sometimes it's just, you want to get in the car and drive? I'm like, yeah, I do. I do. And so we do. And I'm like a dog with my tongue hanging out and my ears in the window just looking. And when we have, ask me something about Houston. We have seen the Ship Channel. We have seen every aspect of Houston more than once. And then finally, another thing we've gained is meaning, reflection and perspective, daydreaming, an opportunity for us to start trying to understand. Because the only way we can get into predicting where things are is to get a good grip on what it is that we're facing, what is happening now. And we all have our theories and we all have our contexts that we place things into, but we're meaning-making, individuals. We do that. And this is good. It's a good thing. It gives us perspective and hope. Oliver Sacks, an author and neurologist, he says, "My religion is nature. That's what arouses those feelings of wonder and mysticism and gratitude in me." More and more of us are finding those kinds of experiences and in being in nature and being outdoors and just being able to be reflective on the smallest little things. Taking pictures. Luckily, I have a phone that has a pretty good camera in it. And then I can save them and I can share them, just like you do. We do that. It's documenting not just our lives, but for me, the beauty that's all around me in the smallest places, in the most surprising ways, when I stop long enough to notice. So how do we move back together in 2021? Of course, when we can, and we're already planning it because the vaccines are being rolled out. Therein lies hope. We don't know how long this is going to take. We don't know how the journey's going to be for us. But again, we're pivoting. It's change. We're taking it in. We'll see. But in the meantime, what else can we do as we come back together but claim unity? Collective work and responsibility, maybe come together in new ways than we've done before. Maybe in our reflection time, we found some things that are really important to us that we want to be a part of, something that we want to help make better in the world. This is our opportunity to come together collectively, work, and be responsible and take up a cause. Stand up and be counted. It starts also with our gratitude for all of the essential workers and for healthcare workers, for the food supply and essential services that keep our economy going and keep us comfortable in our lives. This is a way in which we have become clear about who's on the front line of our lives and who we are depending on as a community. And they're not always the usual suspects, are they? They are a new group of people that we notice and suddenly feel our gratitude for. This may also be a time in your life where you've become aware of the lineage from which you've come, by those ancestors that have passed. Perhaps you've lost some of the elders in your family. Maybe not necessarily through COVID per se, but just through the natural decline of years. And that you have people who are on the invisible plane now, who love you just as much and are sharing their love with you and giving you their wisdom directly to you when you ask. Holding these memories serves our healing, yes, but it also serves us as a touchstone for orienting our lives with the tools that will change the world. In the Gospel of John, Jesus said, "Don't you have a saying, 'It's still 4 months until harvest'? I tell you, open your eyes and look at the fields, for they are ripe for harvest. Even now the one who reaps draws a wage and harvests a crop for eternal life, so that the sower and reaper may be glad together. Thus the saying, one sows, another reaps, is true. I sent you to reap what you have not worked for. Others have done that hard work, and you have reaped the benefits of their labor. Even in Jesus' time, that continuity of life and the ways in which those who precede us not only are our teachers, but they have created a way. They have created a path. They have set us up so that we can come in for the harvest and bring to fruition, using our gifts and our awareness and this lifetime, the opportunity to bring it into expression in a new way. 2021 is untouched, not by our probing minds, perhaps, but untouched by the breath of life just yet. And so before us lies opportunity to really take this turning at the very tail end of 2020. And rather than just shake it off and say, good riddance 2020, you can do that if you want. Be aware that you are bringing some important, hard-earned gifts and experience and understanding and value and purpose, and you know what's really important. And you know what you need and what matters to you. And that knowledge is invaluable for planning what it will be that you will do with the rest of your life. Kwanzaa values of purpose, creativity, faith in our community. Moses was given 10 commandments for the Israelites. Those are Judaic laws to bind the Israelites together so that this disparate group of people could come together and identify themselves. And those laws have bound the Jewish people together throughout the millennia, no matter where they have lived and no matter how far the diaspora has spread them. Unity of Houston follows and has created 3 value statements of being, becoming, and belonging. Belonging. We create a spiritual home for all people, knowing that we are one body and that we belong to each other. This is our foundational understanding of our purpose and who we are together. This is how community identifies itself. This is how we love. I say this all the time. The love here is real. It doesn't come from just one person. It comes from all of us in all of the ways we know how to love. Because why? We feel loved here. We feel loved by you. We feel loved in your presence. We feel loved by you right now, and we can't even see you. Bell Hooks says, the moment we choose to love, we begin to move against domination, against oppression. The moment we choose to love, we begin to move towards freedom, to act in ways that liberate ourselves and others. That's the magic ingredient. It always is and always has been. It always will be. If you get confused, if times get so crazy, you don't know which ends up, how would love show up here? How can I find a way to love this or love that person or be the love that I am in this moment when I want to do everything else? Our teachings tell us that everything is possible. No limits in an abundant world. Our oneness connects us and strengthens us. It is because of our oneness. It is because of unity. The first candle lit here. It is because of the oneness of all of life that every other law exists. So when you forget, you remember that you are not alone, even if you are isolated or quarantined, even if you live alone. You are not alone. You cannot be. You are in a field of energy. You are in a field of relationship, in a network of love, in a network of life. You couldn't take your next breath if you were not. And so this oneness and this awareness is our strength. We call upon it and we use it. We use what we've gained in quarantine. We cherish our family and friends, do we not? Those that we have seen only on little screens or split screens or cubed little screens with all the little boxes in them. We cherish them. We look forward to the day that we can smell their skin as we hug them and lose ourselves in their embrace. The power and necessity of touch has never been more clear. Our connection with the natural world has been documented as having just gone through the roof. Our abilities to find ourselves out in nature. Why? Because we are earthen beings and we belong in nature. We are of it. And we've simply forgotten when we live inside built box homes with glass and air conditioning, which you need in Houston, by the way. I include that as one of my gifts. I love air conditioning. And yet, it keeps me from feeling and smelling the trees, the smell of trees in the air. It comes through a simple breeze, the sound of water in our fountains right out here. All the ways in which nature is forever giving us its rhythm and its pulse and its power and beauty and its healing. Social justice is up and will not be put down, will not go away. It is now incumbent on every one of us to find ways to work together to make our systems accessible to everyone and fair for all. This is no longer an acceptable way for us to exist. And we see where we fall short. And it isn't someone else's job to do it. It is all of us to not take our eye off the ball until it is done. All of us. We use whatever power we have, whatever voice we have, whatever pulls us by the heart, whatever seems unfair is now our opportunity to speak up in our way and join with others to make a difference. Economic fairness, sustainable wages for gifts and talents that we all share. We need everybody. We need everyone's gifts and talents. There aren't some talents we need more than others. We think that. We need it all, or it wouldn't be here. Everybody needs to be engaged and involved and paid a wage they can live off of. Brother David Steindl-Rast said, "We may feel as weak as mice, nibbling at the world's fetters, but we are many, and the fetters must snap. And when we do it, they will." Rachel Naomi Riemann grew up with her grandfather, who is a Jewish rabbi. She was a small child because I think he died when she was 7. So as a small child, his imprint on her has been very, very important. When she was taught about Hanukkah and about the lighting of the candles in his way and in the way in which he explained how it is that the menorah has the candles that are consistently lit and go on oil that never runs out, and the miracle that is, how it brings light to darkness. He explained it to her this way. But God's menorah, Neshumale, is even more beautiful. God's menorah is made of people, not of candles. Puzzled, I turned to look at him. The story of Hanukkah says that God's light burns in the darkness even without oil. And it is so, my grandfather said. That is one of the miracles of the light But there's more. There's a place in everyone that can carry the light. God has made us this way. When God says, "Let there be light," He is speaking to us personally, Neshumale. He is telling us what is possible, how we might choose to live. But one candle does not do much in the darkness. God has not only given us the chance to carry the light, He has made it possible for us to kindle and strengthen the light in one another, passing the light along. This is the way that God's light will shine forever in this world. Dr. Riemann says, "After many years, I've found that often we discover the place in us that carries the light only after it has become dark. Sometimes it is only in the dark that we know the value of this place. But there is a place in everyone that can carry the light. This is true. My grandfather said so," she says. John Lewis, civil rights activist and leader, U.S. House Representative, said, "And if you follow your truth down the road to peace and the affirmation of love, if you shine like a beacon for all to see, then the poetry of all the great dreamers and philosophers is yours to manifest in a nation, a world, community, and a beloved community that is finally at peace with itself." I tell you, open your eyes and look at the fields. They are ripe for harvest. This is who we are together. God bless you all.
Thank you for watching this message today. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.